Good morning, friends, healing friends. Let's start once again with stating out loud, I connect to my deep self. I connect to my higher self. I connect to my highest self. I ground myself to the healing center of the earth. I open myself to the healing power of the One Self. And I let go of anything not useful to me now. And I choose to work with the Hathors. So there is a healing field set up for you today. And I also made a video. I think I got the sound a little better this morning. I made a healing video first thing this morning. I made that video because of the intensity of the world energies from my perspective. So depending on what you're focused on, you'll be noticing different things for yourself. And I guess I'm pretty focused on the world energetics. And yeah, in some ways it's not surprising because it's kind of my job. So I was trained to work in the healing fields that I work with, which started off being just setting up a healing field for one individual. But at a certain point, and I'm going to say it was in 2018, that I began to be I began to be asked to invite all souls affected by the event that my client and I would go back to invite them to return to the event, release and integrate the energy of the event for themselves. And I would set them up in a healing field. And so at first, there was like kind of hundreds of souls going back. Then there were thousands of souls going back. And then it felt like a large college football stadium, the number of souls that would go back to these events. So if that was 2018, that around there that started. So the past 6 years, it's been working with larger groups of souls. But in the end of January of 2020, I was asked to set up a healing field for the world that was to remain open, and that I was to support the grounding of the disturbance in the world field. And I found it very difficult, very challenging. And I was told to invite my students, my clients, and my friends to help me ground the energy of the world. And when they began to do that, the process got a lot easier. It may not look that easy. I'm working with a lot of energy today, so it may not look like it's been going well for me, but I would say it feels like it's been going really well in spite of the appearance of things. I appear to myself, so I'm staring at myself right now. I mean, I'm speaking as if I'm talking to you, and then when you listen to this, you get the sense I'm talking to you. But while I'm making this, it's only me sitting in front of me, which on some levels you are I. I mean, today I said for the first time, I open myself to the healing power of the one self. So it's just one consciousness, and we're just aspects of one consciousness. We're kind of like strands of mycelium in the mushroom. And the mushroom, the organism is mycelium. It just spreads out. It just begins to work with the earth, and it's kind of a root system, and it's kind of a consciousness. And then when it's kind of established in an area and it's kind of connected up to the roots of trees, so they can exchange nutrients back and forth. And if the trees need a little extra water, the mycelium can have a tendency to store water and give it to the tree roots to help them out. It's one big community organism, like us. And even though trauma has caused us to perceive the world differently, to perceive that we are separate from the world. And when we have trauma, and if we've had repeated trauma, like over the past 4.5 years, we can, if we've had repeated trauma for 4.5 years, and then we have, over the last year or two, a couple major wars going on. And wars are decided by heads of state, heads of countries, and they decide they don't go fight in a war personally because they get killed, but they might get killed anyway. But anyway, they decide they're going to have this war, and then they get into it. But what happens is people die. And those people that die are children. They may be 18, 19, might be in the military, and you say, well, they can kind of expect to die. And yet, no matter what, those people who have chosen to be in the military are someone's child, their son or their daughter. They're in the military, and when they die, someone's son or daughter has died. And we'll just talk about the ones in the military. Those in the military, many of them have children, sons and daughters. And in the places where bombs are dropped, whether it be in the Middle East, where it just has a history of this, so they go, oh, well, it's a war zone. We're used to it. Bombs going off all around. It's trauma. Whether those bombs are landing on you, we can have a fight or flight reaction from a car backfiring. We can have a fight or flight reaction from somebody opening a door and we weren't expecting it. And we have a fight or flight reaction. That's a small reaction, and we may get over it right away. But if we are a person, I'm not this person, you might be this person, but there are these people who watch the news, and the news is about, I don't know what the news is about, I don't watch it, but I would just say it's about triggering people visually, verbally. I'm not even going to get into that aspect and get me off track. These people in wars that are dying are many of them parents, many of them, all of them children. They're children of someone. They're someone's child, no matter what age they are. And all these people dying in these places, they're having wars. They're human beings. And I haven't really looked into the number of people that have died from these hurricanes that have been repeatedly happening over the last few weeks. And again, I tend to avoid the news because I feel like it's programming. So I feel like televised programming. TV, it's televised programming. I hope at some point you'll understand that word programming. There's an agenda. Whoever they are, I don't know they, but I'm just going to use the term they, have an agenda. And they use language in a way that is hypnotic programming to get you to behave in particular ways. And every one of these countries does it. And every one of these television news programs does it. And if you're uncomfortable being triggered, traumatized consistently on a nightly basis, if you're good with that, and obviously you're good with it, or hypnotized if you keep doing it. But I'm not here to lecture you on whether or not you should be watching television or not watching television. All of that is a choice, and we all make the choice. But I maybe like to point out once in a while the possible effects of that choice. But it's for you to choose. And we can, on some levels, shut off the energetic world. We can shut ourselves off from feeling that. We can close our consciousness down and put up walls against what's happening in the world so we don't feel it. Or sometimes I think even watching the news helps us to put up walls and to shut down our interaction with the world. And that's exactly what happens when we are triggered and we push the other away and we pull back from the other and we go two-dimensional. I've just done this, so visually you may see me as much more two-dimensional because I've pulled back and I've now separated from you. And now you're not a father, a mother, a son, a daughter, an other. You're just a number. And I'm really holding this field right now, so you and I are separate, and you're going to feel that separateness. And you could say, well, that's hypnotic programming. Okay, whatever. I mean, if we're all hypnotically programmed, if we're all hypnotized anyway, somebody pointing it out, they might be doing it while they're pointing it out. Because basically, hypnosis is suggestion. So somebody might be hypnotizing you by suggesting that you heal. They might be using hypnosis to suggest that you let go of your traumas. But as we hold ourselves as separate from other, whoever that other is, whoever that mother other, father other, sister other, brother other, or other, whoever it is, they're human beings. So when we realize that we are part of humanity, and look how the two-dimensionality just leaves. When we realize we're part of humanity, and we realize that we really care about what happens in the world, some of us may realize that we're opposed to war, that we don't really feel like it's a way to solve things any more than we feel like it's a way to solve things by getting in a fight, using fisticuffs, or solving things by saying horrible, nasty things to another person, even if it's just over the internet. I kind of went off a bit. I don't even know where I was going, but I just felt these may be thoughts you're having as well. And I love you. And I want the best for you. And to me, the best for you and the best for me is that we have our hearts open. We have our minds open. We have our spirits open. And we have our bodies open. So I'm going to jump back, in a way, jump back in time, even if I don't even necessarily believe in time per se. I'm going to jump back in time to just in the beginning of this video, where I was talking about that I didn't look so good to me. And now I look better. I was, so I'm going to see how concise I can make these words. I had a very difficult time in the dream world last night because I ground the disturbance, the energetic disturbance of the world 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the last 4.5 years. I've grounded the disturbance of the world. And sometimes the world has felt more disturbed and sometimes less disturbed. And yet, I feel like I committed to doing this until March 23rd, 24th of 2025. So I didn't open up the field till 2020, so it's only going to be 5 years that I will have grounded this disturbance. But disturbed energy there's a reason it's called disturbed energy, because when we hold it, we're disturbed by it. So if we hold it, let's just say, so I can, demonstrate this. So let's think about where this location is. I think that, there's something there, but I'm going to move this a little bit. I'm going to move it down to, so let's just go to the area of the heart, okay? Because a lot of disturbance can be held there. So let's go to the area of the heart, and let's just say that you or I, and we've all had traumas, and maybe you've resolved all your traumas. I haven't done that yet. And maybe you haven't resolved all your traumas. That's why you're watching a video like this. So we had this trauma, and it affected us in the heart. And all traumas, energetics are contractions. And it's a brilliant thing that our consciousness can do, that when something overwhelming is happening, we can withdraw our consciousness from it, and another aspect of ourselves can just take it and pull it inside. To be activated later in a process that most refer to as triggering, where some external event brings the emotions of that trauma back to the surface. So here we have this, and I'm using the chest because this is what I felt in the healing session I did yesterday. And that cleared in the healing session, that energy cleared, and I woke up this morning and I was working with that energy again, in the chest, in the heart. So the heart is described by Qigong Master Gu as where the body stores unhappiness. So when that energy of trauma that led to unhappiness is released, what we typically will experience when that energy is moving again is a level of happiness. When the lungs, which store the energy of grief, and that contracts, what it kind of holds back from us is the energy of possibility. So when we release that energy of grief, we come, once we release that energy of grief, so let's just do it now. We can just do this. This is hypnosis. You're hypnotized. That's why I was speaking slower. I was helping you get into a deeper state so I could make suggestions. And the suggestion is that you let go of this energy of trauma so let's do it first. You will do this. Watch this little watch. Watch the watch. Watch the watch. Go into a deep state of healing where you can let go of your stuff. So you're in this deep state of healing, and you're inside yourself feeling the grief of the world or of just yourself. You're just feeling grief, and it's just in there. And when you let go of that grief, what are you going to get is creativity. I'm just making this is a hypnotic suggestion. So when you let go of this grief, you are going to get creativity, possibility, and possibly compassion for others. Okay, so we're back. So we're feeling this grief. Oof. And I'm not messing around here. I'm really in this. I've been in this all morning. So, okay, that's why I'm doing the video, to get over it. Okay, so we're in this grief. So we have this unhappiness of the heart, we have this grief of the lungs, and we just, in a place of being really aware of how this feels, and we say, it's just a feeling. It's just a feeling, therefore I can let go of it. And if you really want something to happen, speak it out loud. So how about if we speak out loud, I choose to let this go. And in spite of my liking or not liking the energies I feel in the world, it does not feel worth it to me to pull them inside of me and hold on to them, or push them away from me and go into this two-dimensional state with the world where I just don't care. Neither of them is worth it to me. And this is just coming to me as I'm doing this video. There may be more choices, but the two choices I see is take this energy and just bury it inside me with all the other energy I have buried inside me, or push it away from me and separate myself from the world and from all my loved ones, and from, which is all of you. I separate from that. Or I let go of all this stored energy. I just let it go. I just feel it going. I'm letting it go, not pushing it out. I'm really just letting it go, letting it just go into the ethers, letting it start moving around. You're getting very sleepy, very just messing with your already hypnotized brain that from watching television programming, hypnotic programming. I studied it. I studied neuro-linguistic programming for 7 years, got some master certification things with it. I was very proud of them, held them up. Look at there's a lot of work is what it was. But as part of that, I studied hypnosis. And I realized that the hypnosis isn't a thing. It's not something you can carry around. Hypnosis is a way we communicate to each other, that we help each other get, it can be used in this way. We help each other get into a place where we can actually allow a change to take place. I think it's useful when it's used like that. I don't like it. I don't like it when it's like, you will heal, you will heal, you will heal. You know, it's like, ooh, it creeps me out. Because I don't want anybody telling me what I'm going to do. I want people feeling very okay to suggest to me that if I perceive it's in my highest good to heal, then I can go ahead and do that. If it's in the highest good. And it's always good to just say, if it's in the highest good, I choose to do it. And why am I brushing my shoulders? Because that's where fight or flight is frozen. You wonder, like, why did I have to have surgery on both of my shoulders? Why did I tear, why did I tear my biceps out of the groove? Why do I have all this tension in the center of my chest? Why do I have this contraction in my occiput? Why does my jaw feel like it doesn't work? I can't open my mouth. I get this clicking. Why can't I digest my food? I hate it. I eat this food, even some of it, if it's crap, it shouldn't cause me digestion. It didn't used to cause me digestion, but everything causes me digestion now. And do we want to come out of that? So do we want to, is it in our highest good to let go of grief? And I'm not talking about pushing it away. I'm talking about letting go of it. It's just energy. It's only uncomfortable when it's stuck inside you. You choose to let it go. It's just energy. I choose to let go of my unhappiness. I choose to let go of my fear. I feel the fear just coming off of my body. It's not going to pollute the universe. You don't have to worry about letting go of your fear or your sadness or your anger. I think it's not useful to let go of your fear, your sadness and your anger until you learn how to work with the energetics of it. I don't feel it's necessarily right for you to start beating on somebody or dropping bombs on them. I just personally don't feel that's right. My feeling was that what would be great if you wanted to have a war with someone, you take the two leaders, whether either of them want to have the war or not, you just put them in a ring together. Like I would have liked to have seen George Bush and Saddam Hussein just put on the gloves and put them in a ring. I don't know if that's true, but I just have this great image. And this is what I used to say back then. Put the two leaders in a boxing ring with the gloves, put the gloves on, and whichever one gives, their country wins the war. And then that's it. Then it's over. Just the leaders fight. They don't send young people in an attempt to decrease the population. I don't know if that's the attempt, but it seems to happen quite a bit. If you send all the young people off to war, so many of them just die, it's going to decrease the population. I mean, the population may still continue to rise, which it seems to be doing as well. But I digress. So we have the ability, when we feel strong emotions come up, to release those emotions. To just in that moment decide, I choose to let this go. Come out of fight or flight. Come out of anger and rage. Come out of grief and loss. Come into the present moment. And possibly come into a place of compassion. And when things come from the world, news about hurricanes, people drowning, people's homes destroyed, can't get water, really, having a really difficult experience, you can wrap your huge energetic arms in a loving embrace and say, I feel compassion for what you're going through. If you need to rush off somewhere and do something, sweep the forest or something, you can do that. But what you can do from home is you can let go of all your traumas. Come into a place of loving kindness. Come into a place of compassion and just hold that field, hold that world in that field. Now you might say to me, well, Steve, do you do that? No questions, no questions. I do that when I think about it and feel about it. I do that when I let the energies go. And I just let the energies of the world move. And I'm not holding on to grief or anger or fear. I'm not holding on to those energies. And when those energies are triggered, I make sure that I'm grounded, that I'm going to say this is the bottom of my feet, because I'm not bringing my foot up here. I'm going to say this is the bottom of my feet, and these are the grounding chakras in the bottom of my feet. My feet are on the ground, and my imagination, I imagine my energy going through the bottom of my feet all the way down into the healing center of the earth. And when I feel these energies of disturbance, I ground them into the earth. They're only energies of disturbance when they're held. When they're released, it's just energy. It's all just energy. Okay. That's I think the number 2 healing video of today. The first one was a sound video. I apologize for previous sound healing videos, I'm having poor sound. Maybe we'll actually heal my sound system eventually. So this is better. When I do it like this, and I'm sitting here with light and the outdoors where it's supposed to be, and the indoors being indoors where it's supposed to be, and some of the outdoors coming into the indoors when the windows are open or whatever, and it's all connected. There's an inside, there's an outside, but it's just one thing. You're looking at it all, inside and outside. Okay, I'll get this uploading, and then I'll possibly watch it, although I do have a couple things I need to do today. I started repair of the fence yesterday, and I had hooked one of the posts of the fence into the tree like 7 or 8 years ago. And the post of the fence was bent away. So if this is the tree, the post was bent. It was bending further and further away from the tree. And when I looked at why that was happening, it's because the tree was growing around the post. It was actually growing around the post and forcing it away from the tree. Eventually, if it had been long enough, the tree would have just like snapped it off and tossed it. But I was able to actually wiggle and get the post out of the tree, and I've now put it in a place where I'm going to have the tree support the post, but the post not taking up the space that the tree will need when it grows. I'm going to finish some of that today. I don't know if I'll finish all of it, but I feel much better. I hope you feel much better and not feel much worse because you listen to me. You will feel better. You will feel better. You know, I think we all ought to know a bit about hypnosis. And hypnosis is not good or bad. But people with the skills, of using hypnosis in a way to manipulate you, that's probably good for them, bad for you. But if people have an ability to use language in a way that allows you to have your power back and to feel your power and to let go of the traumas of the abuse of power, it could be useful. And we all can be more useful with our power turned back on. All right? That's it. Hope this is useful, and have whatever kind of day you want. Because Nowmustgo.